All right, guys, we're going to talk about where the quadratic formula comes from, and we're actually going to derive the quadratic formula. So we are going to take our quadratic formula in standard form, whoopsie, ax squared plus bx plus c. And remember that if we are trying to solve it, we're trying to find out what the x-intercepts are. The x-intercepts occur when y is 0, so we are going to set that equal to 0. Now, we are going to complete the square, right? This is the general form. So, first thing I'm going to do, subtract c from both sides of my equation. I get ax squared plus bx plus is equal to negative c. Okay, now we want to get sort of the x squared plus bx by itself. So we're going to divide everything by a. When I divide everything by a, I get x squared plus b over a x plus, now I'm going to put in my blank, is equal to negative c over a plus blank. Aha! So I know that I'm trying to create a trinomial square, so I am going to go down a step. I know that this is going to be x plus blank squared, and that's going to be equal to something. And the question is, how do I go from here to here? Well, I divide by 2, so I get b over 2a. And now, how do I go from here to here? Well, I square it. So b over 2a, the quantity squared, that's going to be b squared over 4a squared. And if I add 4a squared right here, I also need to add it on the other side of the equation, b squared over 4a squared. Now, if I'm going to add these fractions, I need a common denominator. So I am going to multiply negative c over a by a carefully chosen 1, so I get a denominator of 4a squared. So I'm going to multiply it by 4a over 4a. 4a over 4a is equivalent to 1, so I am not changing the value of negative c over a. I'm just putting it in a form that I like. So I get negative 4ac plus b squared. So far, so good. Now, I'm going to rewrite this because I want it to look how I want it to look. So b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared is equivalent. These two ideas are the same. They're just written in a slightly different order. Okay, and that is equal to x plus b over 2a squared. Now, if I am trying to solve for x, I am going to take the square root of both sides. So I square root both sides and I get x plus b over 2a is equal to this plus or minus, don't forget your plus or minus, the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over the square root of 4a squared. And you can see, oh, it's starting to take shape. What will it be? How will it come out? Now, we get x plus b over 2a is equal to plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. There's no simplifying, there's no simplifying of this that can be done, but look down here, we can simplify that. The square root of 4 is 2, the square root of a squared is a. Now, to solve for x, I'm going to subtract b over 2a from both sides of the equation. When I do that, I get x equals negative b over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And now I'm going to add these fractions together. They already have a common denominator. It's beautiful. I get x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And now I have derived the quadratic formula by completing the square. The quadratic formula is really just completing the square all in one step. Woohoo!